Dogs. Dogs, dogs, dogs. Tonight I'm going deep. I'm going to learn how to pet a dog. And don't worry, the only animal that was harmed in making this episode was me. Oh! Oh! Ow!
This is a how-to show about things you think you know how to do. Because simple things are more complex than they seem. I'm David Rees. Let's do this.
We're going deep with David Rees.
I know everybody out there loves dogs. So tonight, I'm going to show you how to properly pet a dog, and I don't even like dogs. How ironic is that? And before you hate me for not liking dogs, it's because I was attacked by a dog late one night when I was in my 20s, and it left permanent mental scarring. So let's all say a quick prayer for me. A long time ago, a man named Sun Tzu said, "Know your enemy." So I figured, let me get to know the dog.
These dogs are totally dead,
Yes,
and we know that because...
they are skeletons.
Got it.
This is Yale University's Peabody Museum of Natural History, and this is Dr. ADRIENNE Batnager, who works for the NIH's Dog Genome Project.
What is a dog?
A dog is descendant from the wolf, Canis lupus. So he's got much nastier teeth than some of these guys.
But they still have the same vibe.
Yeah, the interesting thing about dog domestication is human evolution and dog evolution have sort of gone hand in hand. This wasn't natural selection, like with Darwin. This was artificial selection. It was driven by humans.
Without humans, there would be no dogs. Is that true?
Yes, yeah.
You see, 14 to 17,000 years ago, our forebears, who were probably cavemen, started domesticating wolves. They would keep the friendliest wolves and convince them to make pups with each other, and that would usually lead to even friendlier wolves. Over many, many, many generations, these animals actually changed so much, they became a new species, Canis familiaris, dog.
This one here will probably have a good variety. Some of these would obviously not be very good in the wild. They'd be very noticeable. Things like white markings doesn't show up in wild animals, but it comes out when you start domestication. It's a basset hound back here, kind of tricolored.
This is a basset hound?
Yeah.
Oh my God, look at its ears.
Yeah,
Oh
so like
my
ear
God.
shape's another thing we've changed with dogs.
Now I just want to open every single drawer. This is like very specific kind of Christmas.
So there's a chow, and they have really, really thick coats.
This is a Mexican pit bull?
Yeah.
Look how long and narrow this dog is. And what's crazy about it, we look at all these different dog pelts, and then you turn it over and they all say the same thing, Canis familiaris. They're all the same species. That's befuddling.
How is it possible that a Great Dane is the same species as a Chihuahua?
Breed differentiation happened in the Victorian era mostly. That's where we started getting these vastly different breeds. So people in England might see an Asian breed, think, oh, that's cool. I would like to put it in my dog, and then you get something like the French Bulldog. That have...
You mean literally put it in their dog? Like make one
Not
kind
like
of dog
with
have intercourse with another type of dog?
Yes, yeah, crossbreeding.
Okay, that's sick. I have to say, that's sick.
So not only did we turn a wolf into a dog, since then we've gone on to create more than 300 different breeds of dogs. In fact, we've done so much selective breeding that we've really screwed up some dogs.
The Dachshund's a good example. If you look at his bones
Yeah,
here, the way
looks
they
bowed
sort of
out.
curve, these short, stumpy legs, it's actually a mutation that's seen in dwarfism.
What you're saying is people are breeding dogs to make up new customized dogs, and these dogs are actually damaged goods from the get-go?
They have some mutations that would have negative side effects, yes.
That's like Frankenstein's monster.
But it's cute, so.
Cute's not gonna cut it. If you don't have a mutt, you're a sociopath, and you should be ashamed of yourself, and your dog hates you. And that's real talk from someone who doesn't even give a about dogs. Boom, cut to commercial.
Learning that dogs are these genetic Frankensteins didn't make me feel any better about touching one. So I decided to practice my animal touching on something less scary. A remedial dog. A rabbit.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Amy Sedaris.
What's your zodiac sign?
Cancer.
Your water on fire. You can make steam.
Or we can make lukewarm water. Okay.
I can evaporate you. Okay.
That's true, but I can put you out.
Not only is Amy a writer, an actor, and a crafts expert, she has also made 49 videos about how to take care of rabbits. She's a national treasure.
I said, Amy, teach me the fundamentals of bunny touching so I can turn around and apply these techniques to the slightly scarier dogs.
Okay, David, this is Turbo. With rabbits, they need to see what's going on behind them, so when you want to pet a rabbit or approach a rabbit, you approach from the side so they can see you.
Whoa.
So when you approach, you know, he can see your hand.
So he's not surprised by the touch. You want the animal to see the touch approaching. How do you know if you're petting too hard?
I think the animal will tell you, be it a dog, a cat, or a bunny. I think just like with people, he'll let you know.
So right now we would say you're petting the rabbit.
Right now I'm petting her. This is another one I do, long.
Not just with your fingertips, but with your whole forearm.
Yeah. I do the car wash. I get her like little shoulder rub. Deep tissue, getting in the blood flow. This is going around her ears, and then your two fingers are going down her nose, and that way you're getting the whole thing. The dirty Sanchez is what I call it.
I'm kind of envious of the connection you're having with that animal. Can we bring out the other one?
No, you can't mix bunnies.
Oh, is that true?
Because they can tack. They can rip each other's faces off. Seriously, they will rip your face off.
Despite Amy's House of Horrors description of bunny interactions, to me they looked like the most harmless animals on God's green earth, so I said, I don't care if I'm taking my life into my hands. Give me a bunny to touch. This is Nutmeg.
So start at the front from the side so they know you're coming in.
Correct. You have a touch with animals, David. You know when you massage an animal, your blood pressure will go down.
Are you serious?
That's true, yeah.
I'm around the neck. Now when I move
You're
back,
doing that dirty Sanchez.
I hit him with that dirty Sanchez and now he's relaxed.
See? He wouldn't be.
If it's an unknown dog, pet tentatively for a few seconds, then remove your hand to see if they want more. Answer, no. Why don't you like me? It's like a language.
The language of touch, David.
The language of touch,
It's
which
beautiful.
is another language I suck at.
When you do your making love episode.
When,
Making love,
okay.
David Rees. I think that sounds beautiful, right, everybody? It takes two. We'll be back in 3.
My brilliant plan of starting with petting bunnies so I could work up to petting dogs was working perfectly. Until this happened.
Now can I pick up Nutmeg?
You got it.
Okay.
Did you see that? Those bunnies tried to rip each other's faces off, and I almost caught it too late because I don't know how to read animal signals. So we packed up the van and drove to Connecticut, to Yale's Canine Cognition Lab, to meet Dr. Laurie Santos.
Who's better, Tribe Called Quest or De La Soul?
Tribe Called Quest.
Or Tribe Called Quest or Biggie Smalls?
Oof.
Laurie dropped a total dog bomb. She said most people pet dogs incorrectly, and that's because they misunderstand dogs' cues.
Dogs evolved from wolves, right? So you're dealing with a social species, but one that has its own strict rules about what counts as like being too dominant or being submissive.
Here's the cues I know about dogs. If the dog's tail is wagging, the dog is having a great day. If the
Well-
dog's ears are sticking up, it means they're listening to what you're saying. Like, good dog, bend over, dog. I'm not bent over.
Yeah, turns out some of those are a little bit off. One of the most common misconceptions is about the tail wagging. People think tail wagging means dog's happy, I can interact. Turns out dogs wag their tail in lots of situations. Tail wagging kind of just means that the dog is alert. Really what you're paying attention to is not the movement of the tail, but the position.
So a wagging tail tells you exactly nothing about a dog. What's the most important thing to look for when trying to read one of these hellhounds?
Is the dog trying to be kind of like big and aggressive and having big postures? Or is the dog sort of shrinking and being very tiny? Really the best dog you want and the one that will want the pet is a dog who's just kind of in a natural state. Just kind of a dog.
Just a dog, but I don't know what that, like, I've
Yeah.
never seen a dog do this in my life.
I mean, in lots of ways, they're just like humans. If I was to interact with you on the street, reach out, shake your hand.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
You
Nice
shake
to
your
meet you,
hand.
Laurie. I'm David.
But if I did something weird, if I started like rubbing your shin or patting the, right?
Yeah, I would think that was weird.
Right. And the idea is sometimes we do things to dogs that they think are equally weird.
Are you saying that dogs can feel socially awkward the way humans feel socially awkward?
Most of the problems in human-dog interaction is that you've done something to the dog that's super creepy.
Really?
Yeah.
So I was feeling a little more confident about my ability to read dogs' cues, but then I was wondering, is this a two-way street? Can a dog actually read my cues? Because I've always heard, for instance, that dogs can smell fear. This is Dr. Cindy Otto, who founded the UPenn Working Dog Center. It was opened after 9/11 to train dogs in the art of search and rescue. I said, Cindy, what is up with these dogs and their magical noses?
Dogs have an incredible sense of smell. They have 2 times as many genes for the little receptors in their nose that recognize odor molecules.
How does a dog find a trapped person?
The dog smells live human scent, but what they do is they do what we consider an inventory, and they go, I see you, I smell you, I see you, I smell you, I see you, I smell you. There's somebody else here, I don't see them.
Okay, hold on. The way I can individuate all these people here visually.
Exactly.
Person, person, person. The dog can do that with their smell?
If you think about dogs using their nose to see, it makes it totally clear.
Really?
Yeah.
Can dogs smell human fear?
We think they probably can.
Wait a minute.
We did some research and we found out that scientists have recently isolated a human fear pheromone. Unfortunately, no one has done any research yet to figure out whether dogs can smell it, because apparently Science is always 3 steps behind urban legends. So I said to Cindy, what is the smallest thing a dog can detect with its nose? And she told me, in my lab, I have trained dogs to sniff out biological agents related to cancer. And I said,
I thought we were gonna come in here, it was gonna be huge buckets of blood.
Each of these little arms has a glass jar that has 1 drop of plasma in it.
It's only gonna be a drop?
1 drop. The dogs know there is something unique in the plasma of the people with cancer, and they can tell the difference.
Are they smelling cancer?
They smell a chemical associated with cancer.
I can't believe a dog is even able to smell 1 drop of anything, let alone a chemical substance within that 1 drop. What's the name of the compound these dogs are smelling?
We actually don't know, so we're working with chemists to figure it out.
Wait, so the dogs are like the lead scientists on this project?
You better believe it.
This is Tsunami, a doggy scientist. One of the blood samples in this stainless steel wheel was pulled from someone with cancer. The rest contained blood from healthy people.
Yes!
Really? Is that where it was? Mm-hmm. So what is the end result of all this training? What's the final goal?
So we're using the dogs to refine the technology that will be automated to screen patient samples for ovarian cancer.
That's pretty wild.
Absolutely
If this dog was a
mind-boggling.
human, this dog would be tenured.
Yeah,
Do
clearly,
you know what I mean?
Clearly.
basically, you can't outsmart a dog's nose. If you don't want a dog to smell your fear, you have to get over your fear of dogs.
So at this point I decided, all right, I just gotta get it over with. I'm gonna jump in the deep end. So while I was at the UPenn Working Dog Center, I decided to try something called dog bite immersion therapy. This is Hugo. He's training to become part of the canine police unit.
We're training these dogs to locate and, in some cases, help us apprehend people.
And he's about to enjoy my body.
One thing that you need to do is remember to breathe.
That dog is really locking eyes with me.
You ready? Arm.
So the first time Hugo attacked me, it felt kind of euphoric. It was like being on a roller coaster made out of teeth. And looking back on it, I should have stopped after that first attack, but no, I wanted to do it a second time. And that second attack was actually not fun.
Arm.
Ow! 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 Okay, I think we actually kind of need to check my arm. Yeah, okay, there we go.
Do you feel any less scared now, dogs?
Oh, I'm never coming within 100 yards of a dog ever again as long as I live.
Turns out getting bit by a huge scary dog is not the most effective way to get over your fear of dogs. So I decided to meet with an expert on getting over fear. Ladies and gentlemen, Commander Chris Hadfield of the International Space Station. At the same time he was running the International Space Station, Chris was also singing David Bowie songs while floating around. That is the definition of being a baller.
I've been around the world 2,600 times. You go around the world and you see winter, and then 45 minutes later you see summer.
I know, that seems pretty crazy.
Before he became an astronaut and lived 249 miles above the surface of the Earth, Chris had to get over a pretty severe fear of heights.
If I look over the edge, there's like this rising noise of panic to get away from the edge. I grew up in a farm, and we had a big granary in the barn, and you could climb up on the rafters and jump from up high down into the grain.
Love to do that.
I said, okay, so I'm afraid of that, but why don't I start 1 foot up, then jump into the grain? And I did it higher and higher and higher because the exhilaration of it and the accomplishment of it makes it worth taking the risk.
You went into space in a spaceship, right?
3 times.
Did you still have anxiety about falling?
Even if you're in your spaceship, because you're in orbit around the world, you can't fall.
Right.
If you even let go completely, you're just going to continue to go around the world. But the only time I felt that bad feeling in my stomach, I was outside on a spacewalk. I was holding on, looking at the world, and so I kind of just held on really tight, just with like 2 fingertips, until eventually got myself dead still, and then just let go. There's a permanent change in serenity that comes with that. I think the first step in getting over fear is having a reason to. Do you want to pet a dog?
I mean, I kind of have to for this episode.
So, you got to figure out what is the root of the actual fear itself.
Right.
So what is the actual danger that is causing my blood pressure to rise and the chemicals to get into my blood?
I'm afraid of the dog going crazy and biting me and just tearing me limb from limb.
So, start small. Get used to the presence of dogs under a safe set of circumstances. Sit next to a stuffed dog. Pet the dog.
It's like personal training. You start with the tiny weights,
Yeah.
and then someday you're looking at just like massive massive gains.
But then at some point, you're gonna have to face a real dog.
See now. If you find yourself on a spacewalk, let go.
When a Canadian astronaut gives you advice, you take it. So guess what? I built a damn dog. His name is Dingo D. Dogglesworth, and he is amazing. I used him to practice petting techniques until I realized, actually, I still don't really know how to pet a dog. So I brought him in to meet my favorite dog scientist.
What breed is it?
It's paper mache. It's got all the parts except for the sex organs.
Right. Well, I just assumed he was fixed. But.
Oh yeah, and he is because I'm a responsible pet owner. Have your pet spayed or neutered, right? Bob Barker, Price is Right. Respect.
Never do a dog's head unless you kind of been petting them for a while and they want you to do it. Always best to...
I thought this was #1 rule. I mean, this is what petting a dog is, right? Messing around and being like, who's a good dog? Who's a good dog?
It's kind of where you get to when a dog's comfortable with you, but it's probably not where you start with. Again, think of humans. There are things that you do with a human when you're really comfortable that you can't start with that.
So my entire conception of how to pet a dog was incorrect. I said, Laurie, teach me once and for all how to pet a dog.
All right, so have Dingo kind of choose to come over to me. He's coming over.
This is how dogs
I'd
welcome.
probably not be making eye contact, let him kind of get in my range. Probably at this point, maybe I'd hold my hands out for him to sniff. He's still kind of not glaring at him, but yeah, you know, he's licking it, he's smelling it. And so what I might do is kind of go over and maybe sit or squat over here, and I'd start with the side. Even though he approached me like that, I didn't kind of hover over.
Yeah, right.
Even if he was like, I'm approaching you to sniff you, I didn't want you to like get all up in my face.
Guess what's gonna happen next? I finally confront my fears with a living, breathing dog.
Hey, Tuna, look, Dave's gonna give you a pet. No, see,
I
that
allowed-
was a little bit like, she wasn't, you know, she gave you a like, I'm looking at you, not really looking away.
Does she hate me?
I'm spending all this energy and effort trying to get dogs to like me. It's like, why do I even have to try? I thought they were man's best friend. Do dogs even like humans? Really?
All the research to date suggests that dogs like you back. There's some evidence suggesting that they trust us.
Laurie showed me 2 experiments. Now keep in mind, the dogs in these experiments were not trained to behave as they do. The first experiment showed how dogs are really attuned to understanding our intentions.
Tuna, look!
In fact, they're the only animal that knows that if you point at something, you're directing their attention to it. Not even chimpanzees can do that.
But I don't understand that because chimpanzees are our closest evolutionary ancestors.
There's this really rich social cognition in the mind of a dog that in some ways is smarter than that of a chimpanzee.
The second experiment showed that dogs may like us so much that they're even willing to help us. This is Ben.
You guys ready?
Start reading.
Yep, and so you just read that book casually and have Ben watch you.
So for this experiment, Ben saw me read a book and put it down, and then he watched a thief come in and steal it. Now, if Ben actually cared, he would let me know about this book jacking.
Good job, Benjamin!
Ben was like, excuse me, humanoid, someone has stolen your book. We are in an active crime scene.
Are you guys developing doggy detectives in here? That's incredible.
The great thing about dogs is that they've been shaped over their evolutionary history to pay attention to our cues, kind of work and cooperate with us.
Basically, if humans were as good at reading dogs as dogs are at reading humans, there would be no man-dog, woman-dog problems, and we would live in harmony. I was ready to go pet a dog. If you're scared of dogs, slice up your fear and tackle it piece by piece. Upon first meeting, don't make eye contact. Step sidelong towards the dog and squat down so you're closer to its level. Don't do anything unexpected to the dog. Dogs can get socially awkward, just like humans. Ugh. Allow the dog to investigate you, but don't stick your hand directly under its muzzle. Investigation concluded. Pick your petting location. Most dogs like being pet on their neck, chest, withers, and back. Avoid the head, muzzle, paws, and tail. Use a slow petting motion, a gentle massage, or a steady scratch. Follow the dog's lead as to where it wants to be pet. You like that, buddy? So based on my descriptions, the producers figured out that the dog that attacked me all those years ago was something called a Rottweiler. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Angel. Now obviously we were hoping for the purposes of high drama that this would be the scariest looking dog in the world and I would pee my pants instantly. But by this point in the episode, I'd learned enough about dogs that I could approach Angel with what I would describe as cautious optimism.
Hi, Angel.
Hi.
How are you? Are you a good dog? Are you a good dog?
Totally nailed it. I enjoyed petting Angel, and I think Angel had a pretty good time.
Totally did it.
But all you other dog owners out there will know, as much as I liked Angel, she could never come between me and my #1 dog.
Angel, you want to meet my dog?
Hanging around with Dingo D. Dogglesworth, Dingo D. Dogglesworth out on the town. He's from the pound, he's Dingo D. Dogglesworth, Dingo D. Dogglesworth, the king of dogs.
Whoa.
Ghetto Productions, hold please.